know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K. I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K.
Fury fam, Fins fans, everybody, welcome to another edition of LG Shaking the Panel. I'm your host, Larry K. Happy to be with you guys again for another edition of this great show on this great channel. First of all, man, shout outs and thank you to everybody who has recently subscribed to this channel. I know a lot of people found me recently due to the whole Tua drama, all the nonsense that's going on out there, and you have found a home for objective, rational, balanced conversation that does not subscribe and does not bow down and does not succumb to the nonsense and the BS and all the hypocrisy out there in the media spectrum and all the mass hysteria. We do not subscribe to that on Phin-Addict Fury. We never have, we never will. And that's where we are right now. As they're saying in the chat, and JD, what up, man? Thank you for representing Jersey all day, every day. Smash that like button, please. I'm going to need a few more likes, and I'm going to need a few more likes and subscriptions before we go ahead and get this thing going tonight. And please remember, the super thanks is open, the super chat is open. Any little bit of donation you could provide to the channel helps us keep this thing going, helps me come on live, helps us do what we got to do to make this channel everything it can be. We still need a lot of upgrades. We still need a lot of improvements. Let's get it popping. Let's get it going. Now, for those who don't know, I was actually at the Cincinnati game when Tua got injured. Now, I'll tell you, it was a great city, great fans, great people in general, but damn, that was a tough game to be at, man. We were 3-0. We were riding high, and I knew it was going to be a tough game. Cincinnati fans were pumped up. Cincinnati fans were hyped, and they packed the house, man. Usually when you're in New Jersey, New York, you see a ton of Dolphins fans, but I'll tell you the truth. Out in Cincinnati, man, we did not see a ton of Dolphins fans out there. It was mostly Cincinnati fans, so from jump, we were in a little bit of a tough situation down there in Cincinnati. But you know what? Tua on the first drive looked good, and then that devastating hit really set us back, and it was just devastating to see. Teddy came in, he played okay. I'm sure we're going to talk a ton about Teddy tonight on the show, so I'm not going to go crazy talking about it now. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about Teddy very soon. But I will say this, man. I was at the game, and I don't know how it looked on TV. And Bleezy, what up? I'm glad you're holding it down in Fort Myers, man. Blessings, by the way. This is a Miami Dolphins channel. Everybody in Southwest Florida, in Orlando, everybody in any area of Florida that experienced any hardships from the hurricane, our thoughts are with you. You know, our charity is with you. Our prayers are with you. We hope for a fast recovery, as fast as it could be. And by the way, yes, I can confirm, Clemente, I can confirm that the Cincinnati fans were cheering for Tua when he was carted off the field. Just a great fan base, man. They showed a lot of respect to us. There was no drama. There was no BS. They were graceful in winning. But look, I was at the game. I don't know how it looked on TV. I can tell you. And look, Big O and I do not agree on a whole ton of things. And I'm not a huge fan of his style sometimes. But he said it today, and he's been saying it. And he's right. I watched the play live there, and when Tua rolled out on that play, man, he had 20 yards to run that ball when he rolled out. And he could have ran that ball and ran out of bounds and maybe been close to a first down, and that drive stays alive, and that drive was looking very good. That drive was looking promising. Tua could have rolled out. He could have kept running. Now, I understand if he didn't want to run because he had the back injury, he had the ankle injury. He didn't want to run. I understand that. But if you're not going to run, man, you got to throw that ball away. He turned right back around, right into the defender, and I was like, no. He went down, and then we saw what we saw. Now, the injury itself, we've been talking about it nonstop, so I'm not going to dwell on it all day, but I will just say my piece because everybody in the media is saying their piece. Everybody everywhere is saying their piece. I will say my piece on that. Look, until they can connect the apparent injury on the Sunday against the Bills to the injury against the Bengals. And until they can show that the injury against the Bengals was worse because of the injury against the Bills, then a lot of this stuff that's going on is just mass hysteria and the media feeding off each other and the media hyping up a story because it gets clicks and it causes controversy and everything else that it causes. And Von Joe, what up? California, what up? Jericho, what's good? It causes problems for no reason. There's a lot of mass hysteria that we don't even know the truth of. Now, to the doctor being fired, I thought it was interesting. The NFLPA fires the doctor. And when they first fire the doctor, they say it's because the doctor made several mistakes in the process, in the procedure. So basically insinuating that the doctor was in the wrong when the NFLPA fired him. But now, as they continue to conduct their investigation, the NFL and NFLPA release a joint statement saying firing the doctor and any other investigatory steps we are taking does not necessarily mean that we have found anything that anybody did improperly. It just means that we want to improve the protocol. And they added that the doctor was not cooperative and was hostile towards the process and maybe wasn't receptive to the idea that protocols needed to be tweaked. Now, what does that say to me? My lawyer mind's working. My thinking brain is working. Phin-Addict Fury fam, objectivity is churning. And what does that make me think? Well, it makes me think that when they went to the doctor and started asking him questions about the process, he said straight up, I did everything you guys told me to do. I followed the protocol. I followed the procedure. I did what you said to do. And then they started trying to nitpick him and accusing him of doing something wrong. And with all the firestorm, he understandably got a little aggravated and was like, are you guys accusing me of doing something wrong? Should I have an attorney? Should I be defensive? Because it looks like you're trying to make me the scapegoat. And maybe he was hostile toward the process for that reason. But can you blame him? Can anybody blame him for being hostile after he did what he was supposed to do and now they were accusing him of doing something wrong? And not only was the NFL and NFLPA accusing him of doing something wrong, but the entire damn media universe from Good Morning America to Good Morning Football was accusing him of doing something wrong. I would be a little hostile too, especially if I didn't do anything wrong. Let's be real. This firestorm right now is highly politicized. It's highly politicized. And Tua's bearing the brunt. Mike McDaniel's bearing the brunt. Everybody's bearing the brunt of this. Fact of the matter is we have no idea if Tua even suffered a concussion the Sunday against the Bills. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. As of now, he's still passing all the tests. He's passing the MRIs. He passed the test the Sunday before. He passed the test every day leading up to the game against Cincinnati. It's just that human beings are very easy to understand. Human beings, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, can be very simple. And I deal with this in every facet of life, not just Miami Dolphins football, not just the NFL. You deal with this in politics. You deal with this in day-to-day conversation. Everybody deals with this issue. And the issue is that people are visceral. They react based on what they see. And then once they see something and they get it in their heads, and especially if they start feeding off the emotions and the sentiments of other people around them, they just keep exacerbating it and getting more and more heels dug in and stuck in their position. And they never want to let go. And they never want to be objective. And they never want to be real. And it just keeps feeding itself. Like humans become almost like ants. There was one movie quote that I think is so dope. And it was actually from Men in Black, of all movies. From Men in Black, when the Tommy Lee Jones character is telling Will Smith's character, look, there's aliens amongst us. And Will Smith says, well, why don't you just tell people? They're smart. They can handle it. And Tommy Lee Jones says, the person is smart. The person, singular, is smart. But people, plural, people are dumb and overreact and et cetera, and et cetera. And that's the truth. People saw Tua's reflexive action when he hit his head. And because it was already fluctuating in the news a little bit from the Buffalo game, and because everybody was very angry that Buffalo lost, let's not pretend they weren't. There was a lot of grievances because Buffalo lost too. Because of these things, when they saw Tua's arm shoot up, they just assumed that it was because he had a concussion the last game. They just assumed that this was a serious concussion, more serious than any other concussion. And now people are assuming when they write these articles like Tua should retire, take it from me, I'm a doctor. They're not basing that on an examination they actually did of this kid. They're not basing it on an actual MRI they read or an actual medical proof that they saw. They're just basing it on their own visceral reaction to seeing his arm shoot up. That's it. Until we have all the medical facts, we don't know. But what we do know is this. Tua so far, thank God, is he's doing fine. He's cleared all the tests. His tests look clean. And I think he'll be back in a couple weeks. If you don't think it's a little bit political that they might hold him out a week longer just because of politics, I think you're dreaming. I think optics are big here. I think there's a lot of pressure not to play him. I think that. But regardless of what's going on, we can be thankful his health is looking like it's going to be okay. He's looking like he's going to be okay. But as a Dolphins fan, man, you gotta kind of laugh almost, don't you? We are like mediocre, middling team every year. We're like a 500, 8-8 team every year. This year we come out guns blazing. Everything looks to be clicking on all cylinders. We're 3-0. We're first place in the division, first place in the conference. Our quarterback's rated the best quarterback in the league. And of course, you just know. Of course, Thursday comes. It's not just a regular loss. Of course, we got to not only lose our starting quarterback for the foreseeable future, who's killing it. Right when he's killing it, we got to lose him, of course. But not only do we lose him, we have to have a catastrophic looking injury where the media is just attacking us and we become the league villains once again. Like, you can't make this stuff up, man. As a Dolphins fan, like, was anybody else like, oh, I hope the other shoe doesn't drop, and then the other shoe drops and you're like, man, I should have known. I should have known this was coming. The other shoe was going to drop. That's life as a Miami Dolphins fan. As sad as that is, that just happens to be life as a Miami Dolphins fan. But it is what it is. And here's where we find ourselves. We find ourselves going into a division game against the New York Jets, one of our most heated rivalries. We are going into that game in New Jersey. It's close to me. I can see the Meadowlands from here where the stadium is, from my window. I will be there. Many other Dolphins fans will be there. Dudley Do Wrong will be there. The MetLife takeover is in effect, but I have not been more worried about a Jets game in a lot of years, man, because they just came off the win at Pittsburgh. Now, I'm not saying that was a good win. Pittsburgh has a lot of trouble right now. Pickett came in. It was his first time. He made some mistakes late in the game. Zach didn't look great, but he made the plays he had to make late in the game. But I'll tell you right now, the Jets fans are going to be hyped. They're going to be loud. Not as loud as Cincinnati, but that plays a role. The loud, pumped-up crowd. The Jets are going to be hyped. This is the first time their quarterback is playing in front of the home crowd this season, and they've been waiting for him. The Jets are coming off good momentum. We're coming off a lot of distractions and a bad loss. Let's see what happens, because I'll tell you something. The Jets are 2-2. We're 3-1. The Bills are 3-1. If we lose this game, we give up. We relinquish our momentum to some extent because we come back down to earth with a conference loss, a divisional loss, and we actually probably wind up in third place because the Jets are going to be 3-2 with a win against us. The Bills are only going to have one loss. So this is a huge, huge game, and here's my thing. Teddy Bridgewater did not look terrible against the Bengals when he came in. He did not look terrible. He did not look terrible. But he did not look great. He made some mistakes at inopportune times, and he couldn't get the ball into the end zone a couple times when he was close. I think with Tua in the game, I honestly think we win that game, and that's where I disagree with some other people. TD said that Teddy outplayed Tua. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if Tua was in the game, the way he's running that offense, the way he's accurate, the way he knows how to find the open man, especially in the red zone, he's been pretty good in the red zone this year. I think we win that game because I think when we get down to the red zone those few times, I think Tua makes the plays he needs to make, and I think we win that game. And that's a sad state of affairs that we were close to maybe winning that game, and we don't because of the injury to our quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. That's just a fact. But going forward, we've got the game against the Jets going forward. I think with 10 days, if McDaniel truly is the offensive guru and he truly is the motivator and the game planner and the Madden coordinator that he is rumored to be, that we want him to be, if he is all of those things, then he should be able on 10 days, on a long week, with a quarterback like Teddy, who, by the way, I went back and looked more into his career. He played much better, and he's been much better than I gave him credit for initially. I think a lot of people are giving him credit for. If he can implement a plan to get Teddy playing the way we know Teddy can play this week, we can still win the game. And that's if our defense steps up. Now, you saw that in the news. Byron Jones not coming off PUP this week. So, and there was some confusion talking about injured reserve. No. It's not like it's a prolonged additional weeks. He's just not coming off this week. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. We're going to see. Okay? He's not coming off this week. So that's a hit. X is dealing with groin issues. He might not play. He might be hobbled if he does play. We need this defense to show up and make Zach Wilson deal with us early and often, because I'll tell you what, the Bengals don't have a good O-line, and we struggled to play against them. Although we made some good stops later in the game too, which is why we could have won. So it's going to be an interesting week. I'll be there. I'll be broadcasting live from there. We'll see how it goes. Let's hope we can pull it off, because if we can pull off this win and put ourselves at 4-1, despite losing our quarterback, despite not having full strength on defense, then the season could be a great success still, because we're eventually going to get Tua back. We're eventually going to get Byron back. We're eventually going to have X at full strength. We are eventually going to get there. So we just got to bide our time until then. This is a soft part of the schedule, although with NFL, no one's really soft. This is a soft part of the schedule. We got to take care of business, and it starts this week. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring the panel on. Well, I'm going to bring G and L on, man, and I want to hear their thoughts on everything. We got a special guest, and then we're going to bring the panel on, too. So, Shake, man, I'll start with you. First of all, man, how you doing down in Florida? I heard you just got the power back on. How was the week? How have things been? I see you were in the same setup, so I'm assuming your house is okay. Thank God.
Yeah,
Tell
thank
us.
God. Oh yeah, we just got our power back. I like to give a shout out to all the power workers and all the people that, I'm telling you, it looks a lot. Things are looking a lot better than what it did last week. That's for
great.
sure.
That's great news.
I'm glad that. But other than that, man, I think I had some neighbors that you go around and there's no roof. Some people lost their roofs. There's some places that are still underwater.
That's
because they can't get their lights because it's not safe because the flooding.
That's
terrible,
terrible,
you know what I mean?
Man. That's terrible. Is it still flooded in your area?
Well, not my area, but places up north, and then there's some places down.
Wow. That's sad to hear, and I figure it's going to be a long haul fix. And I know the president's down there with the governor, and they're trying to work on things too. And we wish nothing but recovery as quick as possible to the people in those affected parts of Florida, obviously. So that's rough, but it's glad to see that you're okay, Shake, man. And I want to hear your thoughts, man. On we haven't talked because I was out last week because I was traveling. But I want to hear your thoughts on the game, man, the Cincy game, the week of NFL season, and the upcoming game, man. I want to hear your thoughts on what I said.
The Cincy game was crazy. I didn't have any power, so what I did was luckily one of the little small silver lining was that after the hurricane, there was no humidity and it was in the mid 80s. So we weren't in this hot ass sun. So what I would do is I would sit in my car, crank up a little bit so the battery doesn't drain. I just listen to the radio at night.
Makes sense.
And I was trying to listen to the Dolphin game, but unfortunately it was an AM station. So the only thing I heard was when I tuned into the game, I was like, oh, it will cut in and out. And when I did actually got the game, oh my God, Tua's being carted off. I'm like, holy crap.
That's terrible. That's a terrible time to tune in.
Yeah, as soon as I tuned in, that's when Tua got injured, and then it was halftime. It was like 14-12 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it kept tuning in and out, so I just turned it off and went to sleep. And I woke up and I saw the score.
Oh man, that's terrible. So, what are your thoughts on the upcoming week, man? On the media circus, on Teddy, on all that stuff.
Well, the thing about it is, what people are gonna get because at the end of the day, Buffalo game, when he walked up, that didn't look good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They should have just said, you know what? But at the end of the day, if he felt good, I don't know. I'm not I'm not a doctor, but you know what I mean. I think it's up to the player's discretion.
Right, and I think McDaniel even said, I mean, if the guy says he's good, he says he didn't hurt something else, and at the same time, the medical staff is telling me he's okay, and I'm just supposed to hold him out because I just say he's out. Well, when do I put him back in? Because I'm obviously not going based on medical fact. I'm just going based on me saying he's not ready. Well, what do I go on? I mean, it's kind of tough to attack everybody in the Dolphins and the NFL and NFLPA when apparently they did the procedures, they did the tests, and he was okay. I mean, what are we supposed to do?
It's like when he was calling the hikes, the huddles, whatever. The cadences. He was doing everything normal. He wasn't like he was throwing the bar as normal. It's not like he was, you know what I mean, misfiring. And because usually when you have head injuries like that during the game, while he was playing, they would have showed some major signs of him showing lack of motor skills. Which during the third and fourth quarter, he played just fine.
And he played just fine the first couple drives of the Cincy game, too. So, I mean, we don't even I know how it looks, but we don't definitively even know that, A, the second injury was anyway caused by the first injury, and B, that the second injury was worse because of the first injury. So a lot of this is speculation. And I don't want to delve too far down that rabbit hole because we got a big game coming up against the Jets. But that's just my 2 cents, and I'm glad to hear your 2 cents, Shake. I want to go to G. I want to hear G's thoughts on this game. He was out last week, even though he hates the Bills. But I want to hear what he has to say about the game and the whole media thing and everything else and the Jets. G, what's on your mind, bro?
So first of all, I want to say prayers up to the people down there in the Florida that impacted the hurricane. My grandparents' house got hit. They didn't lose power, but their house was flooded. So it's right now not livable for them. So they're probably going to be coming up home. Hopefully they can get it fixed, but we'll see how it goes. My thoughts on the game, as soon as Tua went out, I knew the game was over. Like, I knew it was over. I knew we weren't going to win because Teddy Bridgewater, he doesn't suck. I think he's just an average guy.
Right.
Back to this Tua stuff. If we would have done this show like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would have told you Tua needs to be done for the year. I do not want to see what happened on Thursday happen to him again. But now with all the news coming out, I think Tua, I don't want him to come back next week or the week after. I think like 4 games, I think what Teddy could get us, and get Tua healthy. It's a soft part of the schedule. I mean, we got the Jets, not an easy win. The Vikings, not an easy win. See, they're not easy wins.
No.
They're not hard teams. Like if Teddy even plays average, as long as the defense plays above, great, then we should win them. But I know Tua's a warrior. He's a fighter. I know he's gonna be back next week. I just hope, man. Again, we don't know. We're not doctors up here, so
we're not.
and all these ESPN. I didn't watch ESPN the entire week because I couldn't deal with these. None of us are doctors. We don't know what is gonna happen. All I'm going to say is I just want the best for Tua. If Tua's going out there, I'm going to be rooting for him, man. I just don't want him to get hurt because it's not always about football. It's like the first part of your life's football, and then afterwards it's not football. But I just, I don't know.
No, I hear you, bro, and I agree with you. And some of the stuff some of these ESPN guys are saying, just like, it's so ridiculous. They're on their soapboxes, just like, McDaniel, don't say you care about players when you threw a guy who was half dead into the game, okay? Get a life. Like, bro, let's stop. We've all seen guys go back in games. Everybody's done it. We're all guilty. Let's not be holier than thou now.
Apparently, also, Joe Burrow, or someone came out and said Joe Burrow has played through a concussion and has blacked out during some games. So where's all the media talking about this? Exactly.
I agree, bro. Like Burrow came out and said, actually, that he blacked out during games. So, this media thing is just going to keep churning, and Tua's the poster boy. So it's going to be hard to get out. Once the NFL gets on a media concern, man, it's hard to get off. But that's where we are. Yeah.
Justin Herbert went back into the game with broken ribs.
Bro, yeah. I mean, they do. And I'm not saying this to sit here and be callous or be a couch potato tough guy and be like, look, at the end of the day, I just want to see him play. I don't care. It's football. It's a game. They get hurt. At the same time, though, objectively thinking, which we do on this channel, objectively thinking, it is a violent sport. The guys who play it know it's a violent sport. They've chosen to play it. They're not forced to play it. They're playing it. People do get hurt. They do play hurt. I'm not saying to let people play with concussions or serious catastrophic injuries. But if you look at, didn't J.J. Watt have his heart restarted because he has a heart arrhythmia, which I, by the way, have, and had to take medication for it. And then he went in and played the next day. No one said anything about that either, because he's a grown man. He makes his own decisions, and this is a violent sport, and it takes a physical toll, and these guys play it. I mean, so at some point, we got to get off our soapboxes, and either we switch to flag football, or we understand that, unfortunately, it's a violent sport. Guys, unfortunately, get hurt, and we don't want that to happen. We want to continue to increase safety measures as best we can, but guys are still going to get hurt here and there, and that's a part of the game. We got to stop acting like we're all holier than thou on some high soapbox when all of us watch the game knowing it's violent. I mean, enough already.
Yeah. Playing this sport is like eating gas station sushi. You know the risks.
Yeah, bro, you know the risk, and you did it anyway. Now, Shake Man, why don't you shake it up for us? Because I know we got a guest today, and I want to get the panel involved. So why don't you go right ahead and shake it up for us, brother, and then let's get our guest on, bro.
As a matter of fact, that's the shake-up. I got the one and only Pamela from the Forever Dolphin fans. She is one of the reasons why I could watch the football games on Sundays. She streams the games on her on the Facebook page. So you know what I mean. So there you go.
I like
Pamela,
it, bro.
Pam.
You gonna shoot her?
She's one of the OGs of the Dolphins community.
You want to shoot her the link, bro? Get her on.
Can you shoot? I did, but she couldn't navigate. So if you could maybe drop the link in the chat, maybe she could jump up that way. She's in the chat though. Pam, if you're there, let me know.
She's there. I see her. I dropped the chat. I'm gonna, just so everybody knows, I'm gonna let Pam in first because she's the guest, and then I'll let everybody else in. So you could go ahead and click the link, but you know what I mean. I might not put you on the stream until she has a chance to come up and talk. That's just for the community out there watching.
But I just got back on, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hey,
Pam, what's going on?
By the way, G, check this out. She's also a fellow gamer, so you know.
Somebody's computer's loud, so just there.
Pam, Greg is also a Gator, so you know.
That's me. I'm trying to disconnect. Oh, nice. Let me hold on. I'll be right back. I'll take care of this. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think Pam's got she got to get some headphones or something is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we need some headphones in here. Guys, if you have not subscribed yet, if you guys have not clicked like, go ahead and click like. Go ahead and click subscribe. You want to send a super chat? Send a super chat, man. You get some highlight time on here, and we appreciate it. If you guys have not clicked like, go ahead and click like. Go ahead and click subscribe.
Oh,
I hear myself.
You want to send a super chat? Send a super chat, man. You get some highlight time on here, and we appreciate it. If you guys have not clicked like, you got to turn on YouTube.
So
send a super chat, man. You get some highlight time on here.
I think what I will do.
You got to turn on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe if YouTube's on, you got to turn YouTube off.
You get some highlight time on here.
I think what I will do. Hold on.
You got to turn on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe if YouTube's on, you got to turn YouTube off. Okay.
Come back. One thing about Pam is she was around with the Shula days and the Marino days, so she knows what a winning Dolphins organization looks like.
Which is nice. Which is definitely nice.
Okay.
There you go,
After
Pam.
technical difficulties.
You're back at it. Now you're loud and clear. Perfect.
Thank you. So thanks for this opportunity.
More people cheer for the same team on Saturday and Sunday.
Gator Chomp, baby. Gator Chomp. Woo!
So Pam, what were your feelings on this whole situation, this whole Tua situation, our chances going forward? How does this impact our season? Shake tells me, you've experienced the Shula days, the Marino days, so a good franchise. It struggled for a while. I was around for the Marino days, and Shula, but not, before, the 80s. But how do you, how are you feeling about this, the Tua situation and the team in general right now?
Right. So, yeah, I've been around from the inception of the organization, so a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But so when I see what I think is total crap, people calling our coach out, calling for his job, I'm telling you, it just infuriates me. I'm so sick of it because, like you had mentioned, there's other people that have done, put in players with concussions and all kinds of things knowingly, and this didn't happen to them.
Right.
When I see people letting Rex Ryan call for our coach's job, I'm like, is there any possibility that he has any credibility talking about the Dolphins? No.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hater from a long time ago, and he's talking about player safety. And excuse me, was it not him and his coaches lined up arm in arm on the side to trip our gunner?
Yes, it was his coaches. I was at that game too. Yeah.
So, I mean, Rex Ryan has zero credibility. And these people, they jump on this narrative. They don't know what they're talking about. They do not have facts, because the facts are that our coach would never purposefully harm a player, let alone Tua.
Right.
So going forward, if they will get off of us, like, they need to stop with the hate. But going forward, I think that our team is so talented and that our offense is constructed in a way that it's quarterback friendly.
Yes.
And that whoever we have, whether it's Teddy or whether it's Skylar or even Reed, I think we're going to be fine. And when I look at, like, I read something, I think it was a tweet that Teddy had put out, and he was saying about being on other teams, and I can't remember the one team, and he was saying, I'm not that quarterback. And then he said, when I was at the Saints, I'm not Drew Brees. And when I'm at the Dolphins, I'm not Tua. Right. So he said, I can only be me. Right. And when I look at the game against Cincinnati, I think he played really well.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the replay of the so-called interception. If that would have been us, it would have been incomplete. There ain't no doubt in my mind. You've got Roger Goodell sitting up in the booth with the Cincinnati owner. You've got, a first down. And these are only a couple plays, and people want to say, oh, you're going to blame the refs. But that game was so close, and a couple of plays mattered. So the first down that we did get, that they called third down, I mean, it wasn't even close, right?
Right. Now, there was a couple bad calls, and it could have been reviewed from what I understand, but we didn't throw the flag, or we didn't challenge it, or, it's tough because those are game-changing plays that really, change a lot of the game, and it costed us, I think, in the end of that game there. So there's questionable calls. There's maybe a misread by Gesicki on that last pick. There's some things that go into the game, and I'm telling you, I was there. The crowd was loud. The crowd was making it hard for our guys to hear and getting them pumped. All of these things, we were on a short week. Remember Baltimore, now we beat them this year too, so we are a good, formidable team. But they got their brakes beat off them by us. That's not really these Thursday games traveling is tough on a team. So despite all that, we were close.
Exactly, and especially after the game we had just played. And then you think about the devastating fact. I know me as just a fan. I had this stream on. I was streaming the game on Thursday, and I felt gut punched. Mm-hmm. I felt like somebody had just knocked me for a loop when Tua got hurt. And I mean, I can't imagine how the players felt, his friends, his close, like our coach. And our coach definitely did not throw the flag. He didn't. I just think that everybody was a little off after that.
I think so too, yeah. And that affects how you play too. How you play too.
I mean, we really didn't see anything from Waddle like after that, and apparently Waddle was completely shook up, which I understand. These are human beings. These are not robots. These are not machines. And when something devastating like that happens to someone you care about, you're going to be affected. And I just think that had everything to do with it.
I could see that. I could see that. Mm-hmm. I could see that. We're gonna get some other people. Let's get the conversation rolling, Pam, with everybody here. We got John in here. We got Mountie, you got like 2 streams. I don't know what's going on, but John, what's going on, man? What's up?
Hey, man, loving life. Happy to be on to talk about some Dolphins.
Hell yeah.
Been a fan since 1993 snow game, Dallas. Woohoo!
Hell yeah.
Whoa.
So yeah, seen a lot of quarterbacks roll through this program, and well, a lot of disappointment. I heard a Cleveland Brown fan once say it's a factory of sadness,
Oh.
and boy, been feeling that way
I've
for a
never
long
felt
time.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we,
I agree. It feels like that sometimes. Like even
It
when
does.
we're 3-0 and then 2 has to go down, not just for a play, not just lose a game, but he has to go down in catastrophic fashion, and the entire league and media and non-football media has to be piling on us. I mean, it just has to all hit us at once, doesn't it?
Sucks.
It's almost it's the curse of the Dolphin fan. You know, that's what we've been going through, and it's 3-0. Yeah, and then to have Tua go down like that was, I almost, I don't want to say I didn't expect something bad to happen, but it's almost like as a Dolphin fan, you kind of wonder, where's it going to hit us? And then boom, prime time. Okay, there it is.
I said that. I was like, I didn't want to say it, and I didn't want to, will it into fruition by thinking about it, but I kind of thought, like, oh no, is the other shoe going to drop? Because even when they showed, like, the other seasons we started 3-0, and we didn't do anything with it, the last 3 times, I was like, oh no.
We started 3-0.
Sorry.
Yeah, but this time felt different because the teams that we beat to go 3-0, I mean,
agreed.
We saw some really good coaches in that run. And I'm looking at Mike McDaniel. I'm like, wow, this guy, he's looking special, So that this season just felt different. And right now we're 3-1, and it doesn't feel so different anymore to me. It kind of feels like, it's a similar feeling I've had before, and I'm pretty nervous right now.
Me too, because it feels like a lot of these other seasons, John, where we start off okay or we don't, but now when we're in the thick of the season, it feels like we're kind of in that middling thing. That's why if we can win this game, it's so big, because it keeps us out of that 3-2 middle of the pack thing, and it keeps us at 4-1 at the top of the conference and division. It would just do wonders, I think, for our psyche and the psyche of the team and the psyche of everybody else, and it would be huge. So I agree with you,
Larry. Do you think we're going to win this game? How do you feel about it?
I'm feeling very nervous, I got to be honest with you, because I don't know what to expect from Teddy right now.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen him start yet. So, early in the game, my feeling could change. If he looks great or he doesn't look great, that could change my feeling one way or the other. But then also, I know that and I know Jets fans, I live up here, I know they're not overconfident by any means, because their team has plenty of problems, especially their O-line is very weak right now. But this is Zach Wilson, his first time home this year. They won against Pittsburgh. They are, standings-wise, in the thick of it. They're going to be pumped. The Jets team is going to be pumped. I don't love it from that standpoint. However, from an X's and O's standpoint, the truth is we have more weapons. Zach Wilson did not look great last week. He hit his stride in the last drive of the game, but he didn't look accurate or great. And their O-line is very weak. But what scares me is we weren't able to capitalize on Cincinnati's weak O-line. So I'm a little worried we can't capitalize on the Jets. I think the first quarter, just seeing how the momentum's going, how we're playing, is going to go a long way in how I feel about the game. But I'll tell you the truth, I'm nervous about this game, because it just feels like a game that, and it feels like a Dolphin season over the last 20 years where we can start great, but we're not just going to lose 1 and keep the momentum. We're going to lose 2. We're going to fall right. I don't want it to happen, but that's my doubt creeping in, from all these experiences.
Do you think that the exhaustion that our team faced, we played in the heat too. Bartholomew can go and call OSHA all they want. They didn't complain when they won in the heat. So we played in that heat too. Our defense was on the field for almost 45 minutes in that Bartholomew game. So
yes, I think it played a huge role.
Yes, in the Cincinnati game, right? And now we got 10 days, and I think our defense is going to feed, and everybody's going to play for Tua. You know what I mean? Like,
I hope
they're
so,
going to have him in his. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
No, I think it's very feasible that could be the case too, and I hope that's the case because we need that to be the case, and it's definitely one of the ways that this game could turn out for certain. So I'm praying it turns out that way. Like I said, I'll be there. We always bring a big contingent of Dolphins fans out there.
Yeah.
So we're
I've
ready
wanted
for
to
it.
go forever. I've wanted to go to that stadium for that game forever.
It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. We'll be tailgating. There's a ton of Fins fans. It's a good time. So I'm just hoping, that my first game with Cincinnati this year didn't go well for me. I'm hoping that this one goes better for me, but you never know. So let's my fingers are crossed, and I think they could be playing the way you're saying, Pam, and that's what we want. Do it for Tua, win this game, pull it out. And like I said, Teddy, man, he could run. He's got other qualities and other skill sets that if McDaniel could find a way to use, we could be doing better than we even thought. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping they do play that way. Let's see. Bleezy, what's your thoughts, man? What's going on? First of all, what's up?
Busy.
Hey,
Bleezy, you there? You're breaking up.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, we could hear you now. You're coming in a little rough.
Can you hear
Bleez.
me?
Yes.
a little bit. Yep.
Coming from ground zero.
Oh my God.
Coming in from ground zero. You see the tow truck behind me? Or
hard to see,
that's
but-
actually a power truck.
It's hard to see. Let's see if I put you solo here, please, so we can try
We
to
can see the lights, right?
Yeah.
I think we can see the lights of it.
Yeah, we can see the lights, please. What are they towing?
Yeah, bro, it's crazy down here, man. It's crazy.
Power truck.
It's
That's a
where
power
I'm
truck,
standing right
actually.
now was in about a. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, they're steady coming in
Wow.
and out of here. Tow truck over there. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy, man.
Wow.
You and your family is safe, Bleezy?
What's that?
You and your family are you and your family safe?
Yeah. Yep. We're all good. Fortunate. Very fortunate.
That's good to
Straight
know,
up
man. And
blast.
Triple S podcast. Big
Yeah,
ups to you
that's-
too, Triple S, for being in here. Bleezy, glad you're okay. Mountie, are you here, man? You coming in, you're coming out?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I'm having a rough time. I have some connection issues.
Okay.
But
We can hear you.
Hey, oh, okay.
Man,
All right,
I got spotty.
yeah, some connection issues.
Okay, I'm about to back out. I got spotty service. But
All right, please.
the game is
Good to see you, my brother.
the game.
Glad you made it in, Mountie.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
We
sir.
hear
We
you.
can hear you.
Okay, good.
So what up, Mountie? What's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts on the injury, the media stuff? What's your thoughts going forward on the Jets game, man? Just, give us the rundown, bro. Well, it looks like Mountie's, man. What's up? We got some connection problems today, man.
But
have not-
while they get situated, I just wanted to say one thing. I don't make it any secret that I think that John Harbaugh is a scumbag.
Oh, he's a scumbag.
And that motherfucker has something against the Miami Dolphins. He's always trying to run the score up on us, and that's why he lost, in my opinion. He tried to run up the scoreboard, and it backfired on his bitch ass. But anyway, one of the reasons I say he's a scumbag because he said, in my 40 years, I've never seen anything like that. Apparently, he's never seen Lawrence Taylor play. Apparently, he's never seen Reggie White play. So those guys used to dude, what they did to Tua in Cincinnati was foreplay compared to what Lawrence Taylor used to do to quarterbacks. And he talking about something he never seen shit like that. Man, get the out of here.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
sorry.
get it.
He's
Yeah, I
a
get it.
creep and a sore loser, right? He's talking smack because he lost. Twice.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys standing on their soapboxes, man, they're all going to take the opportunity, and that's unfortunately partly human nature, too, where people just see an opportunity to pile on and look good and join the chorus and speak with the crowd instead of going against the crowd and taking a stand, and that's what they do. And you just see, it's I don't even think it's necessarily personal. I think all these people are just become talking heads, get asked the question, and decide to try to hit it out of the park, and they try to, join the chorus of voices and just pile on because that's where the crowd's going. People always want to follow the crowd. They don't want to think for themselves. That's one thing on this channel. We do think for ourselves, but a lot of people out there don't. So I don't even think it's personal to us. I think it's just people piling on because that's the media narrative right now. That's the dominant narrative. And most people are going to join the chorus in the dominant narrative. And unfortunately, that's where we are. Honestly, beyond football as a society, that's where we are. So these dudes are going to pile on despite being complete hypocrites. I mean, despite having played guys that way too.
You know, Larry, there's a lot of people that will never forget what they said, right? So I got a memory like an elephant. I will not be forgetting what these people said. So McDaniel won't be forgetting what they said. So everything, what goes around comes around. We'll just see, because it always happens like that.
You're right. And they'll probably run into some nonsense themselves, and then they're going to get this treated the same way they're treating them, and it's out of pocket, it's out of hand, it's nonsense. But I want to get your guys' thoughts, because Pam and I already gave our thoughts on the Jets game, man. I want to hear Shake's thoughts, Greg's thoughts, John's thoughts on the Jets game. Shake, I'll go with you first, man. What's your thoughts? How do you think this is going to shake out, Shake?
Well, one thing for sure, if we lose to the Jets, I don't want you to go into any more games. You're bad luck. No, no, man. Like I said, one thing that does worry me is the fact that Saleh and McFleur know each other so well. As a matter of fact, he said in the press conference, he says the only coach that he knows, one of the coaches that he knows the most, is Mike McFleur. They've coached together for the longest. So there is a familiarity and you know what I mean? So that could come into play, in my opinion. He knows what kind of tendencies, Saleh knows what kind of tendencies that, McDaniels has and vice versa. So that it's going to be a good chess match.
You're right. Greg, what's your thoughts on the game, bro? What do you think is going to happen?
So you already know my stance on today. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he sucks. I think he's an average quarterback. He's a good backup. We have 10 days for Mike McDaniel to get Teddy ready. And I will say this, bro. I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but if we're losing at halftime, I think we need to go to Skylar.
We can talk about it. We'll talk about it as soon as we move on to these other Jets predictions. I'm going to go to John first, and then I'm going to my man Phil, because my man Phil is always a supporter of the channel. He's Fury fan to the core. Now he came up to the stream, so I'm hyped. But John, what's your thoughts on the Jets, man?
Yeah, real quick, though, coming from Seattle, this is not a screensaver. This is real sunlight out here.
I was wondering, bro. I was like, it looks nice out there. You got the evergreens, bro. Totally different climate. I love it.
That's all. That's all the real deal. Yeah, so about this Jets game, I'm really nervous about our run game. I know the Jets always play us strong there, so I feel like we're going to really be depending on Teddy. And frankly, I don't have a lot of confidence in the guy. Granted, he didn't play terrible in Cincinnati. That just was not a winning performance, and I think it's evident by the score. So going into the Jets, they're looking strong. I think we're going to struggle to run. I mean, I'm hoping we can get some yards after that catch and maybe squeak out a win here, but by no means am I confident going into this one at all.
I hear you, John. I share your sentiments. I think Teddy's going to have to put the ball in a good position, give it to our playmakers, and let them get the yards, because it's not like he's going to be flying through the air all day. I agree. So, Phil,
before you let Phil cook, one thing Teddy has to remember. This is the team that traded you you signed with that team on the offseason, and they traded you for Sam Darnold. That should be stuck in his memory. Go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Phil, what
Never
up, man?
forget.
I like that, man. So I've probably, I've been reading the blogs and I've been listening to a lot of shows. I'm probably like the one guy that thinks that Teddy actually played pretty well last week. I just loved what he did in the pocket. Guy came in cold. He gets no reps. He made some great throws. The interception sucked, but I mean, it's just it was just a misread. If you get some time with Gesicki, get some time with these receivers. I don't think he's a world beater, but shit, man, he's way better than Brissett. I mean, it's not even close.
I agree.
So
yes,
I'm really interested to see what Teddy can do for us. My biggest concern is the defense. What have they done this year? They have been a huge disappointment all the way around. I mean, I know X is hurt, but where's that pass rush? Where's Jalen Phillips? He's supposed to be his breakout year. Like, when's that going to happen?
Well, I think too, Phil, when you bring up the defense, and somebody who's not with us today, you do this usually. He was bringing up the defense as a concern early in the show, early in the year, and I think look, they've held some opponents to decent point totals, but I don't know how, because when you watch them play, we're not getting the pressure we should all the time. Now, it's interesting, right? Because it's feast or famine with our defense. Sometimes we get the pressure, it causes a major turnover, and that's literally a game-turning play. But other drives, it looks like we really can't stop anybody on third down. We can't get off the field. We struggle stopping the run. And Cincinnati, to me, was a huge... they exposed us because, X was hobbled. We don't have Byron, but we couldn't get pressure on a team with a weak O-line where a guy had been sacked every game before us. And then he's burning us for these deep balls and for these intermediate passes and beating us that way. I agree. If we're going to win this game against the Jets, nobody wins. I don't care how good or capable Teddy is. No one wins with their backup quarterback unless the backup quarterback is like a Kurt Warner type of guy who just comes in and becomes a Hall of Famer, or the defense plays well. We need the defense to show up if we're going to win this game no matter what. Teddy's not going to just light it up for 60 points, whether he plays good or not. We need this defense to step up, and Phil, it better be this week or we're going to be in trouble. They haven't done much. Phillips, by the way, I just want to put, they've been trying to play him as an every down linebacker. In my opinion, he's been getting burned. He's been missing tackles. He's been out of position. He's miscontained. I'm not trying to knock the guy. I think he's a great pass rusher. I think he still has a future. Yeah. But if you notice, they've been kind of trying to pull him out some plays now because he just hasn't been able to play that every down outside linebacker role. So
and he's been frankly completely outplayed by Melvin Ingram in every aspect of the game. That guy was signed off the street,
Yeah, no, I agree. And then I don't know, they've been subbing. Their linebacker subs are interesting. You got Riley in there for some plays. You got different people in there for some plays. But yeah, and I'm worried if X is severely hobbled or can't go. I'm worried, man. I mean, now we have some decent young players, but they're just not. The defense was built around X and Byron and them being healthy. And when they're not, we're in trouble. I know we've tried to draft their backups or their replacements. The young guys that we just got look okay. But, obviously some of these other guys just don't look good. And you got to, they're getting old anyway. So we better replace them at some point or this whole defensive system is in trouble. So we'll see. Phil, how you feeling about the Jets game in general? You're a little worried about the defense. You think Teddy can do it? You thinking we win this? Or you thinking we struggle? What are you thinking?
I think it's going to be a close one. I think that the Jets kind of look at us like we've been looking at the Bills where we kind of have a winning streak going against them. And I think they want to break that. So I'm not feeling super confident about this game. I think we are definitely a better team, but we'll just have to see. I really think it's going to depend on the run game, the defense, and Teddy Bridgewater. And if I could rewind to last game, what drove me nuts at the end of the game is when X went out. We went into that zone defense. It was just horrible. These guys can't run zone. We've got to play man for this defense to work. And if X isn't in there, they got some good wide receivers. So we'll see.
No, they do. And Zach could run. Zach can run and create plays, when it breaks down. He may be inaccurate. He may throw a pick or two, but he could run. He gets outside the pocket. We miscontain, and that's been a problem for us. We'll be in trouble. So let's see what happens. Pam, you were going to say something.
Yes. So, Phil, I agree that the zone stuff just makes me nuts because we got guys that are hungry for that ball. They're going to go after people, but you got to put them in the right position. And I don't know. I feel like our defense, like you were saying, Larry and Phil, about how we didn't get to Burrows. But I think that game was an anomaly because of, like I said, exhaustion from the previous game, a short week. Yes, they were on a short week, but they did not play the game that we played. Our defense held and held and held. And the reason we beat Buffalo was because of their arrogance. They just knew they were going to jam that ball in there and get a touchdown, and they didn't. So our defense, that back-breaking defense over and over and over, 45 minutes on the field, the exhaustion, and then, of course, the blow of having Tua go out in that game, I think it was just a bit much. I agree that the Jets are hungry and they're going to come for us, but we are so much more talented. And I agree, Phil, with you about Teddy. I feel like he's been cold. He has not come in once as the playing starter. It's been like, okay, you're going in, dude. And in that position against Cincinnati, what a tough position to be put in. And I thought he played pretty good. So while I am no Teddy fan, and I would love to see Skylar, I think we all need to just let him sit back and earn his money and see what he does.
Yeah, and he got paid to be this backup, and that was McDaniel was a large part, as I understand it, in going out and getting him. So if you wanted that to be your backup quarterback, you wanted to spend the money on that being your backup quarterback, you thought you were comfortable in your offense with that as your backup quarterback, then let's see it take root. And I did read earlier that the team apparently has, like, their spirits have been uplifted by how Teddy has been conducting himself the last few days. They were worried, and apparently he's been taking the reins, he's been practicing well, he's been looking good, and they are feeling more confident, which gives me more confidence. Let's hope it's not just, feel-good stories for the media. Let's hope it's real here, and let's go from there. But we'll see what happens. Let's hope he earns his money.
Yeah, and I don't think our team is going to sit there and chat it up, be like, "Oh, we feel so." I just don't see us doing that. These guys are not going to be fooled by somebody fake. They're not going to come in and fake their way through it. Our offense is amazing. Tyreek is going to be a leader. He's going to have to step up and lead and be strong and powerful and be a force in this game. And I do believe, Phil, like you were talking about our running game, I think our running game was actually pretty decent against Cincinnati. It kind of came alive there towards the end.
Yeah, Mostert looked pretty good, I thought.
He did.
He really did, and let's hope we're going to need that to continue. I thought, they were riding him as almost a hot hand late in that game, and we almost won the game because he was running so well. So if we can keep that up, then any quarterback's going to look better. Everybody knows the run game sets up the passing game. If we can keep that up, we have a lot of good things could happen to us because everything springs from the trenches, man, as we all know. RD, what's on your mind, my brother?
Hey, guys. Seattle. John. Hey. John, right?
Yep, John from Seattle, man, out there in the sunshine.
Yeah, what's up, buddy? Yeah.
You a Mariners fan, brother?
This first time they're going to go to the playoffs in 21 years. So, yeah, I've been a fan, but I have a hard time admitting it.
I'm going to be at the game for the Jays. So, baseball is back with the playoffs. It's going to be fun.
Right on, man.
Man, I can't believe, Larry. Thank you for showing us the inside scoop on what was happening in Cincinnati because we were getting a live footage of pregame and then obviously the in game when the injury happened, you went live and then the post game and all that good stuff. So
yeah, no problem, bro. That's what I'm here for. That's what the channel does. If I can give you something, I will do it. And those fans were fun. They were getting on the camera, being fun. Yeah. They're a fun group, man. I don't have a problem with the Bengals, long term. They're a fun group.
It's good to see that the fan bases are not as hostile because when you go, because I've gone to the Bills games and I've gone to the West Coast games, and I'm telling you, LA and certain places in the States are just too hostile. Right. When you go to, I went to Detroit, I had a really good time between the Lions, but they don't have much of a rivalry. But at the same time, it's good to see the fan bases, enjoying the game rather than creating a hostile. Everyone enjoys the game.
Yes.
That was really fun to see. But again, man, I don't know if the Dolphins are cursed or how can you feel so high at 3-0
I know.
And be worse than you were at the beginning of the after the Tennessee game. We feel worse now than the Tennessee game because it's you have health concerns for Tua. The more you dig into this stuff, you have two sides of this thing. One side is this is how it's always been done. You can't change anything. And the other side that says, no, he's going to die if he plays another down. And these are people that study this stuff every day. They've been on the guy that made the movie for concussion CTE, the doctor, right?
Yes.
That guy has so much equity built up because of he brought the whole thing into the highlight. And we know the NFL and teams don't really have a good, background and a good history with being honest and whatnot. And we know demeanor that players have to play. So it's like when they tell you that the third concussion could be fatal, you're like, I mean, this is more than just a game now. It's like, because at the end of the day, it is a game. I mean, you don't want to be cheering for this guy to end his life on the football field. And we know the controversy between the Dolphins and Tua. It's like you set up your team that any free agent in the future or any big player that could be drafted top 5 or whatever, they'll be like, no, I don't want to go there. They'll never take care of me. Kind of thing. Like there's so much happening right now so fast that I just feel like putting him for 4 weeks on the IR because of the strength of schedule that we have, right? It at least you win one argument that you took your time. You know what I mean? That you wanted to be. It was his decision in the end. He passed all the protocols we have. He wanted to play. We waited 4 weeks, and if something happens after that, at least you can go back and be like, "Oh, I didn't play him within 15 days after the accident." So
we could do it for the optics. My only thing with doing things for optics is like if none of the tests are saying he has to wait that long. I see what you're saying too. I see it's just to cover our butts and say, hey, we went above and beyond. But hey, he might be ready for this week, but we're going above and beyond by sitting him. He might be ready for 2 weeks. I don't know how long they're going to hold him out, but I suspect they're gonna keep him out at least one more week than he needs to, regardless. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I suspect they're gonna do it. But how long do you do that? You know?
Can we just,
Larry,
John,
do you think it's?
Can we address something here about the concussion? Now, RD, you had said it. Second concussion. That hasn't been confirmed. But my eye test, I thought the dude was done in that Buffalo game. I couldn't believe he came back in the second half. So. I mean, I agree. This is probably his second concussion, but as far as what's confirmed, I mean, I think this thing is kind of getting crazy. So if it's just one confirmed concussion, I mean, the guy could have probably cleared protocol this week and played the Jets. Let's face it.
And no one's arguing he should, but he could have. So how long are we going to go? Pam, go ahead.
So thank you, Larry. So I think the deal is I don't believe he had a concussion in the Buffalo game. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that 3 doctors were wrong. And I know all the thing people talking about the one doctor was fired, but first of all, let your mind think through this. There was no time for an investigation into that doctor before he was fired. He was fired like that. And it's come out now that he wasn't fired over his medical decision. He was fired because that man knew he was fixing to be the scapegoat, and he went for them. Like he went for their throats, saying, "You're not coming for me." And he had a big time attitude, which I don't blame him because he knew what was fixing to happen. So I think all of this is a lot of smoke and mirrors by the NFL. I don't think. So I know what you're saying, John, about you saw him and you thought for sure he was done. If you've ever had a back injury where, like I have, because I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I get these like electrical shocks in my back. And sometimes when I stand up or when I take a step, I'm fixing to go to the ground. You wouldn't be able to tell if my head was injured or why I was fixing to go down, but it's my back. And so I believe what they said. If you look, there's a up close photo of Buffalo having him bent over backwards at the top of his back, and then another guy going for his legs, like underneath his feet. They had him bent over backwards. Yeah, I believe it's his back.
And I'll tell you this, just for that. Now, I don't know I'll tell you what John said too. When he got up and he stumbled, I thought it was a concussion. I thought he was done. The Dolphins organization initially thought it was a concussion. They said it was a head injury. They found out later, apparently it wasn't. Maybe we will find out the answer to that question. Maybe we won't. And if we don't, we can't just assume like everybody else in the media is doing. We won't do that here. But we know what we thought we saw, but we don't have the facts, just like John said. However, I will say, and some of the guys in the media are completely ignoring this, pretending it didn't happen. Like, I didn't see that. Well, they weren't watching the game. A couple plays before that on the quarterback sneak, he did get bent backwards, and I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, but on that play, if you have the game film, the original broadcast, and you can watch it, they zoomed in on him. He laid on the ground on his back for a couple seconds to the point I thought he wasn't getting up after that play. The guys helped him up, and then before you knew it, he was on his knee in the huddle giving the play. Like, I guess he's all right. But I did see, now whether that's the case or not, we'll find out. But I did, in fact, see an injury, and he was shaken up a little on that play with the quarterback sneak. He was.
The problem is with that push that he got from the linebacker from the Bills, when he falls and you see him fall and he hits his head, you can see for exactly two, because I timed it and when I was playing it back, his hands were like stuck for 2 seconds, just like they were stuck at the game. But at the game, they were stuck a lot longer, right? But I just feel like we're not being told the full story from different people, right? And I think the number one person that you can get, the real truth of what happened and how he felt would be Tua. But you got to understand players. I mean, one of the people that covers the Dolphins, they were talking about Higgins, the wide receiver from Bengals, right? Yes. That man must have suffered like 3 concussions this year, it feels like, right? And these were brutal hits, right? And he's on the field, right? So it's football. This is just and when it comes to CTE, you don't even need concussions to get that. Absolutely not, right?
Right.
But it's, you know what? Like I said, optics are everything. Yes. Because like whatever you see right now against the Dolphins, right now, if Tua were to end up paralyzed or worse, right, the next time he comes and it's because of a concussion, dude, I'm telling you, whatever you're hearing now, forget the picks. Lawsuits are coming. Maybe the team has to be sold again. Like, I'm telling you,
I wouldn't mind it getting sold. I wouldn't mind it getting sold. I'll tell you that. I would not mind it anywhere. And he's not been at the games we've been playing, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You don't even want to go down that path, like as far as like him not being in the games and all the man.
At least optically, if you give it like 4 weeks, you can be like, listen, we tried our best. The doctors are saying, Tua is saying, what do you want me to do? Because he's a rookie head coach too, right? Like, it's his decision now. Like, whatever the team says, whatever, he's the final decision maker. And the other thing on top of all of this, listen, man, don't tell me we didn't see that preseason. You know what I mean? Don't tell me that preseason didn't happen. Don't tell me those throws that we saw didn't happen. Don't tell me that this guy had a great career in college. And I'm talking about Skylar. That didn't happen. To put this guy with all these weapons and maybe even bring in Ezukama, because this Craycraft guy is only for like gadgety plays. I don't know. It's like, why are you shy from letting good players just because they're rookies, just because they're 7th rounders? Listen, those throws are the same throws you do in a Super Bowl, same throws you do in a pivotal game, because those are throws that you throw over linebackers in the middle of the field or in the sidelines, or you're going to the sideline and you throw it for 58 yards in the air while moving, or you double pump and you throw it to our tight end because he's at the end zone, or you find the running back who's an undrafted rookie on a beautiful parabola throw in the end. Like, he made throws, that big play throws, and everything was so fluid for 3 games, not just 1. And he never once struggled, where Teddy struggled his only preseason game. And I don't know.
I'll say this.
Feels magic.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to defer to Greg because he started to bring this up before. I'm going to let him have the floor, and I want to hear everybody's thoughts on the whole Skylar Thompson thing. Now, look, my personal opinion is They signed Teddy to the big money because Teddy has been a proven starter in the league. Not stellar, but he's been serviceable in the league. McDaniel saw something he liked. He went out and got him. He's got the experience. I'm wondering myself if Teddy struggles, if they would roll the dice because, again, yeah, you're right. See what he has. What do you have to lose? At the same time, maybe they see it in practice. Maybe they don't think he's ready. I don't know, but I'm kind of curious, but I do want to go with Teddy first because if Teddy's more serviceable and we can win the games and stay steady, that's what I want to do. If Teddy struggles so bad that we're not going to win anyway, throw Skylar in because the only thing that can happen is we find out the kid's a star or we find out the kid still needs work, whatever. I get it, but I'm going to let Greg start, and then I want to hear everybody's opinion on that, and I'll call you out by name.
Let's hear it, Greg.
So on Sunday night, before I was going to bed at like 1 a.m, I was watching Skylar Thompson college highlights at Kansas State. I'm gonna watch his preseason highlights hopefully sometime tonight or maybe over the weekend. But man, I was just like, how is this guy not starting for us? I mean, I was watching his highlights. He can run. There was one play. There was an option play. He just took it to the end zone or he took it for a big run. There was another big run I saw. He can throw the deep ball, and I'm like, oh, my God. I can just see this guy throwing the Tyreek or Waddle, and I'm like, oh. But the preseason, it was 3rd stringers and 2nd stringers and all that good stuff. He hasn't really played against the starters, so maybe that's why McDaniel's holding him out. But what Skylar Thompson reminds me of, there's a college quarterback that he reminds me of in the NFL. He's Josh Allen and Anthony Richardson, the quarterback of Florida. All of them can throw the deep ball. They can all run, and that's. Imagine Skylar starting. Not only you have to worry about Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Gesicki, the running backs, but you have to worry about Skylar Thompson because he can throw the deep ball and he can also take big runs. Take it for big runs.
I hear King Mill, what's up? But yo, Greg, I mean, nothing you're saying is inaccurate except maybe the level of competition isn't the same in college because everybody who goes to the NFL was a baller at their college, and then all the guys in college were ballers at their high schools, and But I'm not trying to like cast aspersions onto it. I hear you, and I'm curious, but I'm also a little cautious. But Shake, what's your thoughts on that situation?
The only thing that's gonna suck if you put Skylar in trash time, and he looks good. That's what they're going to say. Oh, it was trash time. Of course he's going to look good. So, you know what I mean? So we're still not going to get a fair evaluation because, again, it was trash time that we put him in. So when the game was out of reach.
With the Jets, there is no trash time, my friend.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a rivalry, so
I'm just throwing an example. If the game's out of hand and they're putting him in there because the Jets scenario is trash time.
The Jets ain't blowing up anybody ever, dude.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, Shake. I hear what you're saying, Shake. And he's saying even if we're killing the Jets, then maybe it's still trash time.
Oh, so with triple kill.
At the end of the day, nobody said last year Jacksonville is never going to beat the Buffalo Bills last year. Right, and look what happened.
Right,
so that's why you play the game. The game isn't played on paper; it's played on the field.
No, I agree, Shake. John, what's your thoughts on this situation with Skylar, man?
Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to see Skylar playing. Okay, I am screaming from the rooftop. How many opportunities do you get to put this guy in and to see what he has?
Right.
If Tua comes back, which it looks like he's going to. And if Tua stays healthy for the rest of the year, and if Skylar never gets a chance to play, what a shame would that be? Don't we need to see what this guy has? The preseason player of the year, I cannot overlook that. Our quarterback is our 7th round draft pick is a preseason player of the year. So I'm a scarred Dolphin fan. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks go. I rarely get excited. I loved Matt Moore, frankly. One of the rare ones. Skylar gives me those same vibes. I don't know what it is. So, and for Teddy, oh my God, I'm going to be so bored on Sunday, and I'm not even sure we're going to win. Right. So I don't see why we don't roll the dice and put Skylar in. Frankly, I think it's all political. I'm disappointed with Mike McDaniels for not going with him, but at the same time, if we win, then then Mike McDaniel's made a good choice. If we lose, I'm holding him personally responsible, and this will be his first ding. So yeah, thank you for giving me that opportunity to get that off of my chest. I cannot wait to hear what you guys think.
And John, great point. And I would say too, I mean, there may be some. I mean, look, the Dolphins thought Skylar was good enough too that they didn't waive him to the practice squad. They thought he was good enough that they had to keep him on the active roster. So we're not just dreaming, being silly couch fans or whatever. The league saw what we saw. The dude looked good. So whether he's a future backup or the future starter, he looked good enough to stash him on the active roster, and there's something there. So I'm excited about that kid too. And you can't deny seeing him in the preseason. I know it's preseason, our defenses are vanilla, and he's still going to make mistakes if he plays, but the dude moved the offense pretty efficiently. He looked like he knew what he was doing. Phil, what's your thoughts on this, man?
I think that Skylar is already clearly penciled in as QB2 minimum for next year. And I'm just fine with just letting him sit and watch and learn. We're all excited to see him play, but I would really like an opportunity to see him be put into a situation where he has a chance to be successful. Jumping in mid-season, I mean, let's go back to 2020 when Tua got pushed in halfway through the season. He was terrible. I mean, he said it himself. He didn't know how to read defenses. He didn't know the playbooks. Let's give Skylar a little bit of time to learn, acclimate to the NFL. And when he's ready to go, I mean, it might be a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers kind of thing where he's been in the league for a year or two. He knows the offense well. He's got chemistry with the players, and he just takes it by storm. I don't think we have to rush this thing. And I think, Teddy has what it takes to beat the Jets. And who could be more motivated to beat the Vikings than Teddy Bridgewater, So I'm comfortable rolling with Teddy for a couple games, and I am as excited as I can be about Skylar, but I don't think we need to rush it.
Yeah, I could see the point, Phil. And, at the end of the day, I do think he's penciled in for next year, and it's true. No matter how good you are physically from a raw talent standpoint, there are mental, learning curves that you have to acclimate to. So, and sometimes you can hurt a guy. You can stunt his growth if you rush him in there because he gets gun shy or he gets, shaken because he. So I see all sides to this discussion. I'm just trying to, play devil's advocate on everybody and discuss it. But you all make good points. Who's going to say something? Somebody's going to say something.
I just want to bring a quick question for the panel. Do you think the reason why Skylar Thompson isn't going to start, because let's say Skylar Thompson, he just comes out, balls out like 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, something like that, kind of, and then Tua all of a sudden comes back. Do you think they're worried that a QB controversy is going to be starting up in the fan?
I don't think so because Jerry Jones said it best. I want a quarterback controversy. It's a good problem to have. That would be if he came in and lit it up, and then you still have Tua. One of them could be trade bait. It would be tough, like from a public relations standpoint, and you've invested in Tua and all that, but that's the game. I don't think anybody's concerned about that. I don't think that's the reason they wouldn't play him.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they'd say, "Oh, this guy's going to be so good, he's going to light it up, so we better not play him." I don't think that is the case.
I don't either.
Especially with this fan base that we've been waiting 30 freaking years for a quarterback. So
right.
anybody starts kicking ass, they're going to be our starter.
And it's not cool, but remember, This is the same organization that tried to get Tom Brady on like a boat to recruit him. And these guys don't really care. I mean, these guys are, I don't think they're worried about a controversy because they're out there, as we know. And I say that about Greer and Ross, and I'm hoping, I do like how Greer has built the team, to be honest with you, aside from that nonsense. I do think Greer has built a nice roster. And I think McDaniel might be the guy to get it run. But, season's end will make the judgment. So far, he looks good. We don't know yet. But,
So, I mean, I got to propose the question. Yeah. Does this mean that Mike McDaniels believes Teddy Bridgewater is better than Skylar? And
I know
if that's the case, then okay, I'm rooting for the wrong guy right now, but I believe Skylar's better. So my question is, why isn't Mike McDaniel giving Skylar the shot? And that's why I think it's political right now. If my beliefs are correct, then I don't understand what's going on. So
I think I think, number one, they invested a lot of money and all that into Teddy, so there is some politics there where we've seen it with quarterbacks more than any other position in football. It happens in college. It happens in the pros. They tell a guy he's the guy, and he stays in the game longer than he should. Not saying that's going on in Miami. I think that's one possibility, and I think that's one factor that is playing into it. I think the other is they really do feel that is rawly talented as Skylar may be, and he is, and they believe that or they wouldn't have kept him on the active roster. As talented as he is, they still might believe that Teddy gives us the best chance to win now because he's got more experience. He can read defenses better. He knows the playbook better just because there's NFL nuances and things in it. It could be true that they believe Skylar's has more raw talent, but Teddy's more ready to play now. And I think both things fit into that, John. I think the politics and that other aspect of Teddy just having more experience. I think honestly both play into it.
If we don't pull off the win this weekend, then I got some questions for Mike McDaniel. I mean, at that point.
No, I agree.
He probably has questions for himself. And if I could give my take on Skylar too. So my take on Skylar, when I know a lot of people, it's preseason, he played against, lesser than defenses, but he also played with lesser than offense. So you can't, take one thing away from him and not realize that he was playing in a lesser than position to begin with. And when I watched him play and I watched just the physical mechanics of the guy and the way he stood in there and threw the ball, and the way when a defense is piling down right on top of him, his focus was straight downfield. He never lost his focus, and that is a veteran move. There are a lot of veteran quarterbacks that when defenses are coming right down on them, they lose their focus downfield because most people would. But Skylar did not. Skylar stood in there. And as far as Kansas State, yes. Is that a weaker college? Yes. However, pay attention to their schedule that he played. Their schedule was not a weaker schedule. I would say their schedule was stronger than Ohio State's schedule. Look at what Ohio State plays. So if you want to take away from the young man and say he plays at a lesser than school, yes, he did. He played with lesser than players around him, but he didn't play against lesser than talent.
Pamela, to add to that, his entire 5 years that he was there, okay, the last 4 years, nobody got drafted from Kansas. Nobody got drafted especially from the offensive side. It's not like he's got top 10 picks and whatnot, and he was still beating LSU. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Good point.
Exactly. Playing big time
by himself.
games.
And
Oklahoma.
Yeah, and Oklahoma, of course. So
and Baylor, and at big time they played Texas. They played big time games. So when I look at that kid, first of all, he was going to come out as a 4th round pick, not a 7th round pick.
Right. But injury concern.
Exactly. So he stayed another year, and then he comes out as a 7th round pick. So people want to make a big deal about the 7th round pick, but he was really a higher level than that. And as far as what McDaniel is doing, playing Teddy, I get it. I get it. It's like you said, Larry, they paid him to come in and do this. But I think McDaniel is not afraid to pull the trigger. I think he may pull the trigger sooner than we think. It's all going to depend on Teddy, what Teddy does.
Right. And I think if we lose too, and it has something to do with, the offense being inept and the quarterback play being lackluster, I think there's even more incentive for McDaniel to make that move. But, if the defense lets up and Teddy's serviceable, I think it's more questionable. And it depends how long Tua's going to be out, too, because if he's coming back the next week, maybe they keep rolling the dice with Teddy because he's stable, this and that. Well, there's a lot to see. I think we all – I don't know one Dolphins fan, except there are certain people who are so, and TD used to call them Tuaneers, who are just so Tua obsessed that they are going to vilify Skylar just because he represents, potential a better quarterback. Maybe. And they're the only ones, though, that I see that vilify Skylar. I think every other Dolphins fan I know is excited about Skylar. Whether they think he should play right now or not, they vary on. But they're all excited by him, and they should be. The kid looks good. There's a lot of potential there. I agree with that.
If you're a Dolphins fan, you should be excited. And I heard John say a few times, he's seen quarterbacks come and go. I've been there, John. Been there about 20 years before you, watching these quarterbacks come and go. Seriously, I feel you on that. But when I saw Skylar Thompson and when I saw what the Dolphins did day one in the offseason, keeping Gesicki, just signing these people, all the things we did, my mind said, this is not Dolphin-like. And I hate even saying that, right? Because that just makes our organization sound bad, but it wasn't Dolphin-like.
Right.
We made differences, and I believe in us this year.
Me too, and that's
controversy or what?
That's why I'm praying we can pull this game out and we get Tua back healthy or whatever, or Skylar or Teddy take off, whatever, because I do think, and somebody said it earlier in this show, and I forget who it was, but just who we beat, the coaches we beat, it did feel different than just the typical 3-0 start that we've seen in the past, where it was lackluster teams and then the other shoe dropped because we were never that good. I mean, these were quality opponents who are now beating up on each other. And the Bills and Ravens are beating up on each other last week. Ravens and Harbaugh made a terrible call at the end of that game to not kick the field goal.
Yeah,
but they were going at each other too, so it's not like one of them got blown out because they're not what they're cracked up to be. We got some good teams that we beat.
He has been coaching for 40 years, so he's excused to.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Well, how about Belichick looking terrible without Tom Brady? I mean, can we talk about they're 1-3? Some of these coaches, man, they make some questionable decisions at inopportune times, and because they have the experience and they built up the goodwill, it's understandable. But sometimes people make bad decisions, man.
Pick 6 on Aaron Rodgers.
Watching him pitch a fit on the sidelines last week, I mean, it was just hysterical. I'm like, it comes back around to bite you, dude. We live on a round planet that spins and rotates. Hello, it's coming back.
What goes around comes around. That's just the way it is. I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. So listen, guys, this was an awesome panel tonight too, and I hope you guys all come back. Phil, John, Pam, I hope you all come back because you guys haven't been on all the time. But I want your final thoughts, man, on what's going on with Tua, on the game Sunday, and then we'll reconvene next week, man, and I'll have a video out before then. But I want everybody's final thoughts. I'll go first with RD. What's your final thoughts?
Yeah, man, I was really excited once we went 3-0 because I figured whatever happens, we'd also have a backup, if something happens to Tua, because that was the final checkbox he had to, click off because of his injury history. And I thought, just in case something happened, that, I'm going to get to see Skylar. So now something happened, and it's the worst kind of thing to happen because it's out of your control. And I don't get to see Skylar. And Teddy's just... Teddy just, for me, Teddy's like, I don't know how to put it, but it's basically that person that you don't want to date. It's going to be an okay date, but it's like you don't want to date him at all. You just, whatever. It's like going to the mall with him. And that's what Teddy is. And I don't feel like the team looks at Teddy and be like, oh boy, today we're in good hands. I just feel like they all think that they have to do a really good job to make sure that the team wins, because Teddy will not be there to bail you out if you're trailing double digits. Teddy will not be there to make sure that you blow a team out by 30 points and really feel good and have all the highlight reels. The only throw he made was to Tyreek, and it was a great throw. Like, it went the distance, but he underthrew him that it could have easily been picked off if, and he did end up throwing an interception in the end of the game anyway. So he's just never going to be the guy, right? So he's a backup for a reason. And I don't want somebody who has a ceiling that we already know what it is and it's really low. I want the guy that could be anything. And I have enough games to evaluate him until Tua comes back. Do we have somebody here or not? And if we don't, it's fine. He'll just be another backup because you need backups. But at the end of the day, I don't want to, because the team is set up to win now offensively, right? We have all the weapons. It's a real oiled machine. It's a good oiled machine. And you put Teddy in there, and this guy's just, not excited with that, man.
So you're not feeling excited about Teddy, RD, but we will see what happens Sunday, man. I want to hear your thoughts next Wednesday when the game's over and see what happens, bro. So we'll talk to you then, my brother. Thanks for coming on again.
Thanks. Bye.
Later, bro. Phil, final thought.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to sell anybody on the merits of Teddy Bridgewater, and that's fine. But I would like everybody to think back to a couple of years ago when Drew Brees goes down, Teddy Bridgewater steps in and goes 4-0 as a backup quarterback with similar teams. I don't think this is the time to get Skylar Thompson NFL action. I think this is a time to bridge the gap until Tua comes back, and hopefully he can go 500 or maybe even a little bit better. But we got a lot of winnable games coming up here in the next 5, 6, 7 weeks. And, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the best quarterback in a lot of those games. So we'll see what happens. And then if I can just pitch in on one more thing before I sign off.
Sure.
Is, I know you guys probably talked about it earlier in the show, but concussion-wise, I just can't get in my head the idea that 2 doctors evaluated Tua, knew he had a concussion, and sent him back out to beat the Bills in September. I don't know if this is a problem with the concussion protocol. I don't know if he had a concussion. It looked like he may have. But, I'm in the medical field, and I know those guys are really, really, really trained. And so I'm interested to see what comes of this. I sure hope Tua gets better and that he comes back and plays for us at some point.
Yeah, and Phil, I totally agree with what you just said. I can't get there on saying the doctors did something wrong or whatever else. They checked him. He looked fine. Now, whether he had one or not, he was cleared to play based on the protocol. Maybe the protocol needs to change, but until somebody shows me, like I said, 1, that he even had a concussion, 2, that the injury Sunday was related to Thursday, and 3, that the injury on Sunday exacerbated the injury on Thursday. Until we get there, a lot of this stuff is just a circus kind of, and just, grandstanding for no reason. I'm with you, and I'm also with you on, you got me more pumped for Teddy too. You got me inspired. I'm ready to go in there to MetLife rooting for Teddy, Phil. So let's hope it works. I'm going to broadcast it before the game.
Next week on the panel, we can, come back and be like, yeah, Teddy was all right.
He was great.
So.
He won that game.
Yes.
That's what we're going to say.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Phil.
Yeah. So, Phil, we'll talk soon, my brother.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Larry.
John, final thought.
All right. Well, I was really sad to see Tua go down, and I have not been a fan of his at all. But that 6 touchdown performance against the Ravens to bring us back was unbelievable. I mean, I'm talking to my wife about it, and I cannot recall the last quarterback performance I've ever seen that good coming from a Miami Dolphin. And wow, what belief I have in the guy. And then he comes out against Buffalo, and he's looking real good. And he gets hurt in that QB sneak, but he toughs through it. And he goes out before the second half, and he comes back, and I'm just looking at him like, holy cannoli, this might be our franchise guy. Yes. And then he goes down against Cincinnati, and I have all these questions now about Tua. I feel like we found our franchise guy, but can he stay healthy? And yeah, it doesn't look good right now. So I'm sad about that. And so that's where I stand on my team is we got a game this Sunday, but I just have so much going on in the back of my head about our franchise and our future. And I'm in a panic mode, and I'm looking at Teddy, and I'm like, put Skylar in because I need something, give me something else to believe in, because I feel like I put a lot of faith into after that Ravens game and belief, and I'm feeling pretty let down, man. So yeah, as a Dolphins fan, I'm scarred. We're all scarred. And I think we found our guy for a couple games. And he's going to come back, but there's what happens on this next hit to his head? I'm cringing. Mm-hmm. I am cringing in my seat watching a game with Tua playing, because is this Is this going to be the hit that's going to take him? I want to win the game. You know, is he going to get taken out of the game? You know, or even bigger, is this guy going to get severely injured? I don't know. I mean, he's getting hurt badly, it seems, like year after year. So yeah, those are my thoughts. We got a game this Sunday, but I'm having a hard time even thinking about it. So
I hear you, John, and I think a lot of us feel similarly. Hey, winning cures a lot of things, and if we pull this thing out Sunday, I think a lot of us will be in a much more optimistic mood. So let's just cross our fingers and pray that happens, especially because I'm going to be surrounded by a bunch of friggin' Jets fans with their stupid chant and their ugly green colors, and I just don't want to deal with hearing about them all week. So let's beat them. John, thanks so much for coming on the show. Hope you come back next week. Hope you're
love
a regular,
the show,
man.
guys. You kick some butt out here. I appreciate it. I'll see you next week.
Later, John. See you next week. Pam, what up? What's your final thoughts? And thanks for coming on, by the way. It was a pleasure having you. So what were your final thoughts?
I just enjoyed it so much, Larry. I've been subscribed to your channel for a little while now, and I really enjoy your very positive attitude. It's not that you don't have criticisms or anything to say, but it's in a positive way, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate Shake Money for giving me heads up for this and everything. I've enjoyed it so much. But my take for the game is that we are an extremely talented team, and I think we will out-talent the Jets. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I mean, for God's sake, can we just go in and just wipe somebody's slate clean and just kick some ass so that I don't have to sit there and have a heart attack every week?
Yes.
It would be great. I would love that. But I do think, this is a rivalry. This is a huge mini generational rivalry, and it's big. So I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk, but I do think we win this game. I think that I think Teddy's got something to prove, and he has been successful. Really, what stopped his success in the past has been injuries. So I think he will be successful. I would love to see Skylar out there. It would be great if it was like 87-0, and we threw Skylar in and got to watch him run the score up to 147. I mean, yeah, I'd be so happy.
I would love it too. That's what I'm praying for. Sit there in the stands, move down in the rows because everybody leaves, all the Jets fans, and just chill. I would absolutely love that, of course. So I'm with you, Pam.
You're not eating it anyway. You know you're going home. Give me a hot dog.
I'm with you, Pam. I'm with you.
Before Pam goes, I'm going to be remiss. I want Pam to plug in the Forever Dolphin fans on Facebook. It is a wonderful community on Facebook. There's a lot of benefits. I've been on there for a long time, and it is one of the few Dolphin fan book Facebook pages that doesn't make you shake your head, because some of the bull crap you see on these Facebook pages just make you shake your head. So please, Pam, I want you to go ahead and plug the Facebook page.
Sure. So I eradicate the crap,
which is needed.
Yes, we Forever Dolphin fans. So a couple of guys that started that page over 5 years ago asked me to be an admin because they just saw my Dolphin love. And so we've been together as a group, Forever Dolphin fans, on Facebook. And I've been streaming the games now. This is my 7th year. I stream the games, and you have to, if you watch my stream, you either need to mute me or join me because it's very loud. And thank you, Shake Money, for reminding me, because that group is a lot of fun, a lot of wonderful Dolphin fans on there. We are like a family. We're a family on there. And if crap comes in, they get booted. They go. We're out. So
Love
thank you, Larry. Thank you, Shake Money. Nice to meet you, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Pam. Hopefully you'll be back on. I really would love for you to come back on. So we'll join the Facebook too, and let's go Fins on Sunday.
Let's go Fins.
All right, Pam. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Good night. Greg, final thoughts, my friend.
This game, it's going to be intriguing. It's not an easy dub like it was in past years. It's going to be a 4-quarter game. I think we're going all 4 quarters with the Jets. I will say this, though. If Xavier Howard does not play, I'm going to be extremely worried.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have to pick the Jets, but
oh god,
wait and see. I know.
I'm kind of picking. I don't want to say it, but I'm until I see otherwise, this is a rough game for us. It's looking like that's just my opinion.
I would say also if we're losing at half, and the offense doesn't look too good, I think we got to go to Skylar. I don't know though. Here's what I think is gonna happen. I think we're gonna be losing going to half like 17-0. Skylar's gonna come out and ball out, but I could be wrong. We gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and see what happens. I think the Dolphins can pull it out. We got the more talent than the Jets. The Jets are a good, young, talented, up and coming team. Then we should be putting some respect on them. But I think we'll pull it out 27-20.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Close one, Greg. Well, listen, and I know you and I will talk after the game, probably during the game on the chat, and then we'll be back here next Wednesday to break it down.
Yeah,
so let's.
By the way, CBS, I'm very upset with them. I know the Patriots got to be showing up where I live, but you got to be kidding me if we're gonna have to sit through the 49ers and the Panthers at the 4 o'clock window and get no 1 o'clock game on CBS.
I hate when they do that. I hate when they do that.
Because the Jets, we're close to New York, and I feel like there's some Jet fans up where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's not Patriots and then the Jets, Dolphins at 1. But we get to watch the Patriots and Lions, and then we get the Cowboys, Rams, and then the Panthers, Niners, which infuriates me because now I get to watch.
By the way, Greg, that's if you have a Facebook page, that's why you should go join the Forever Dolphins fans. You'll be able to watch the game. As a matter of fact, ever since I started watching Pam's streams, we win. I didn't watch Pam's stream last week. I didn't watch Pam. I'm not being facetious or nothing, but I'm superstitious like that. And I didn't even watch Pam's stream during the Titans game. Ever since then, I started watching her streams.
Yeah.
We've been winning. So
I even took my Dolphin jersey off when we still lost. But
yeah.
Usually I watch TD. I don't know if he doesn't do it Sunday because he's just having a baby. Congrats to him. I might have to check that out.
Yeah. So check the stream out first of all, and hopefully we can cross promote with Pam a little bit. I just joined the page too. We got a lot of fans on there, so let's all cross promote and let's go Fins, man. Greg, let's win, man.
Yeah,
Hope you find a way to watch, and we will talk soon, bro. And hopefully your prediction. I don't need it to be that close, but I just like your prediction that we're gonna win. I hope that comes to fruition. So we'll talk to you next week, my brother. Thanks as always. It's always a pleasure. Later, Greg.
Yeah.
Shake. Final thoughts, my bro.
You know me, I keep it short and sweet. I'm gonna be back with the shake-up and the good and the bad, the ugly. Last week I experienced some ugly, so that's why I couldn't do anything like that. But once again, I appreciate you for allowing me to voice my opinion and air my grievances here on your wonderful platform, man. Fins up and good night, everybody.
Yes, sir. Shake, looking forward to we're looking forward to Shake's segments coming back next week. Thank all of you for joining tonight, whether you were in the comment section, whether you were just chilling watching, whether you were on the panel. It's always greatly appreciated. We love all voices here on Phin-Addict Fury with Larry K, LG Shaking the Panel. If you have not done so yet, but you've been watching this channel all night, or you just tuned in, or you just been kicking it, or you stumbled upon it, please just scroll right below this video, click subscribe. Just smash subscribe real quick. It does a ton for the channel. Smash subscribe. Go ahead and smash the like button. Join us here. We're here every Wednesday at 7, but I got videos coming out every week. Multiple videos just commenting on all the things going on with the Dolphins. I'm going to be live from the game this week, just like I was live in Cincinnati last week. Join the channel. If you could donate anything, we appreciate it. This channel is growing. We started out last season, the beginning of last season, we had 47 subscribers. 47 subscribers at the beginning of last season. We are now up to 1,000 and over 1,060. And we didn't have panels, we didn't have bells and whistles, we didn't have graphics, we didn't have, tickers, we didn't have all this stuff. But all of a sudden now we have it, and it's because of you guys. Because you've joined, you've donated, you've subscribed, you've promoted. Go out and promote this video, share the channel with your friends, let them know they should subscribe. Feel free to come on here anytime. Reach out to me if you've got an idea for content or any other thing, and I will do my best to facilitate that and get that on the channel. This is a channel for the people. I don't do this full time. I don't do this 5 days a week. I got so many other things going on that I'm just a true fan, just like everybody else, just on here trying to just talk Fins in an objective, no BS way, and just bring the, from fan to fan, provide a platform to do that and to have awesome people on the channel. And Pam, thanks for the props for the great show. It was great having you on. Great having everybody on, especially the newcomers, John and Phil. Great having everybody on. We will talk to you next week at 7, and I will talk to you before then after the game. Let's hope we beat the Jets. Fins up, and Larry K out.
I know you heard me on the radio flexing. She loved the sound of my voice, it's the